Hey, wait a minute, did Kai just pass away at the end of Beyblade? When I started my Beyblade G Revolution rewatch, it became clear I did not remember the third and final season of the OG Beyblade trilogy. When I reached the second half of G Revolution and we started getting Evangelion references, Sailor Moon parodies, blood, and possibly death in the base stadium, I realized G Revolution was a lot more than a glorified toy commercial. Just over 1 year ago, I began my Beyblade rewatch and review journey, working my way through every arc of Season 1, V-Force, and the first half of G Revolution. Now, in this video, we are at the end of the road, answering the question, how did the original Beyblade trilogy end, what was the final fate of our original team, and how does this season compare to the others? Welcome to the Did You Know? Thanks for your patience if you've been watching these reviews and waiting for this finale. For those who are just joining, we review early 2000s anime like Digimon, Beyblade, Metabots, and I recently published my own novel, Dot Monster Revolution, which is my spin on Monster Tamer battle anime. You can get it as an ebook or physical paperback. The reception so far is great, and if you're interested, I'll share links in the description and pinned comment. But for now, it's time to review G Revolution episodes 30 to 52, the end of Beyblade. We kick off with the greatest Bey battle ever animated up until this point. In this Kai v Tyson championship finals, the animation team make it crystal clear that they worked on Dragon Ball Z. We get it all. Buildings exploding, a scream fest, beam struggles. Beyblade manages to achieve the hype of other action shows without any direct physical violence. It's a serious accomplishment for a kids show to elegantly balance hype demands and violence restrictions so well. The pure love of the game transports Kai and Tyson into this outer space galaxy setting, depicting both bladers in a state of euphoria, and it culminates in what has to be a visual homage to End of Evangelion, though I see no one mentioning this online. Ultimately, Tyson comes out the victor, and it's the rare instance of Kai being okay with a loss. Tyson's team are named the champions, and the best tournament in all of Beyblade concludes. Make sure to go back and watch my first G Revolution video for a review and breakdown of this incredible tournament arc. We get a fast-paced slideshow of the various team members posing with trophies, shaking hands. The speedy wrap-up evokes V-Force's final episode, only here's the thing, that was the series finale. This is only the halfway point of G Revolution. After the high of episode 30, things simmer down before launching into this absurd storyline about corporate mergers and hostile takeovers that I imagine wasn't super interesting to children but is hilarious to adult me. Mr. Dickinson has been ousted from the BBA. BEGA is the new big brand, and they plan to transform Beyblading from a little hobby with local communities into a global entertainment powerhouse. This whole thing mirrors the rise of pro wrestling, with Boris back from series 1 now as the BEGA boss, feeling a lot like a Mr. McMahon type villain here. In the real world, McMahon's WWF scooped up talent across America and put small wrestling leagues out of business on the way to global domination. Boris and BEGA are doing just that to Dickinson's BBA. They want to introduce sponsorships, pop idols, Blader ID cards that come with renewing membership fees. This is not where I thought G Revolution was going, and I kinda love it. We meet one of BEGA's top talents, Ming Ming, who is a J-pop idol and sort of a magical girl Sailor Moon parody. In the English dub, she has this super high-pitched voice that Canadian fans should recognize immediately. She was voiced by Sugar, who was a host of The Zone on YTV, where Beyblade aired. As if that wasn't already meta, Sugar also voiced Sailor Mini-Moon in the English dub of Sailor Moon, so for Beyblade's idol and Sailor Moon parody character, they cast someone who was already used to hyping up Beyblade and who is also a Sailor Scout. I thought this was just genius casting. Now, Canadian Heritage minute over, back to the review. While Tyson and his team no doubt have their reasons to despise Boris after season 1, there is one crew with even bigger beef with the BEGA chief, and that is of course Tala and his Blitzkrieg boys. Their reappearance at this point in the story makes perfect sense given what Boris did to Tala, Kai, and the others during their childhood in Russia under his tutelage. And I adore that G Revolution brought these guys back in the first half to use them so effectively here. The Blitzkrieg boys rock up to BEGA HQ, and seeing Boris's old victims now stand on their own and desperately try to convince a new generation of victims not to fall for his lies is really great. Tala truly became a character in G Revolution. In series 1, the Demolition Boys were really just walls to overcome enforcers for Boris, but here in series 3, Tala feels like a real person with emotions, dreams, baggage, and purpose. Unfortunately, none of those are enough to prevent Tala, Spencer, and Brian from being massacred by Garland in a couple of surprisingly violent Bey battles. The face-off goes so poorly for the Blitzkrieg boys that Tala is hospitalized in a coma for the rest of the series. Tyson and the others are horrified, outraged, and they call out BEGA publicly. They agree on a 5-on-5 tournament with Tyson and 4 others battling BEGA's 5 best bladers to decide the future of Beyblading. We assume our 5 will be Tyson, Daichi, Max, Ray, and Kai, with Coach Hero in our corner again, right? wrong. Kai intends to join BEGA, and Hiro signs on as a personal trainer with BEGA, partnering with a prodigy named Brooklyn. Both the Kai and Hiro heel turns are frustrating. Kai has bounced back and forth so many times in these 3 seasons that here, swapping teams again feels just exhausting. Hiro is a newer character in comparison, and this is his first real switch up, but given the stakes, it's hard to believe he'd turn on his brother and former team. We later hear his rationale was that by training a super opponent, it'd push Tyson even further as a blader, but with Boris taking over the international distribution and regulation of Beyblades, it kind of feels like we have bigger priorities right now than making Tyson a better blader. So I'm not really a fan of these switch ups. On the streets and in shops, Hilary and the others see the negative impact BEGA is having on Beyblading culture. Children are being bullied for not being able to afford their BEGA registration fees. It's the Beyblade equivalent of kids bullying you in Fortnite for using a free default skin. With BEGA's monopoly on the game, Chief has no access to legal shop parts, and we witness an underground rebel Beyblade economy pop up with Max's dad donating spare parts, the American PPB providing bits. In episode 39, titled Rebel Alliance, every blader team from the prior tournament returns at the classic Riverside location to stand up and fight back against BEGA. I'm talking Rick, Lee, Mariah, Julia, and Raul in their civilian clothes, not their competition costumes. Maybe this is embarrassing to admit, but this moment had me with genuine shivers from a 20-something-year-old cartoon about spinning tops. This massive group of Beyblade rebels go off to a training camp to prepare for the Justice 5 tournament, and with no Kai, we have yet to choose a 5th blader. Could be anyone. Rick is insistent it should be him, the girls agree that at least one member of the team should be a girl, and I should also stop and say, I was certain Hilary was going to pick up a Beyblade in G Revolution, like in a meaningful way. We get this one joke scene of her using Kenny's Hopper/Einstein blade on the bus, but it's not like she joined the BBA Revolution as an alternate like Kenny after Kai left. Series 3 definitely did right by Kenny, having him as a serious blader in matches like the one against Tala, but Hilary did not get the same love. She could have studied coaching under Hiro during the first tournament and then stepped up into a lead coach role when Hiro bailed in part 2, but no, in the Justice 5 tournament, she's kind of just a reaction face to cut to. It's a bummer. The science team reveal their new super weapons, tiny Beyblades that rely on a hard metal system. When I saw these things on screen, I had this Ratatouille moment, a memory unlocked within me. I suddenly remembered these hard metal blades, that weird launcher with the cool ripcord. I didn't realize these were incorporated into the anime. Me not knowing this confirmed that I have never seen the 3rd act of this show. Back in the city, Kai must earn his spot in the Justice 5 team. It's not just handed to him. There are 6 candidates but only 5 spots. To earn his spot, Kai is pitted against Brooklyn, and we get a surprisingly bloody battle here with Kai taking an absolute beating from the apathetic Brooklyn who barely wants to be there. Kai is infuriated not just by the fact he's falling behind, but by Brooklyn's disinterest and sheer disrespect for the game itself. Kai loses his match against Brooklyn, is dropped by BEGA, and appears to spend the next few days living on the streets, his clothes damaged and his wounds untreated. With game day fast approaching, Tyson's crew visits the comatose Tala one more time. Tyson leaves a 5th hard metal blade on Tala's pillow, having faith that Kai will see it. Dickinson says, quote, "Any revolution in Beyblading shouldn't come from BEGA, it should come from you all, a revolution from the young generation. That's it, from now on, you're the G Revolutions." And with this they said the thing moment behind us, we commence with the final tournament of OG Beyblade. These are single battles, no best 2 out of 3 like in Series 1, and the first team to reach 3 wins will be the new champions. The first 2 matches do not go well for the G Revolutions. First up is Daichi versus Ming Ming. Daichi gets his butt kicked. He makes a crappy comment about Ming Ming, essentially accusing her of being a fake gamer girl, and she defeats Daichi. He kinda deserves the L, if only for being sexist in the Bay Stadium. It's a good lesson for the kids watching at home, not to make assumptions, but considering Daichi's unreal win streak in the earlier tournament, and the fact I generally liked this character, it's a bummer that his last big moment of the season was him losing after calling a girl a fake fan. Ray goes up against Crusher/Moses in match 2 at the exact same time that Crusher's sister is going into her operation. I will say, so far this tournament ranks lower than the previous tournament for the simple fact that we have no pre-existing relationships between our competitors. Daichi barely knew Ming Ming. Ray is interacting with Crusher for the first time here. Both want to win, of course, but neither opponent means anything to the other. I'll give some credit to the scenario writing, as you genuinely feel for Crusher, who could have just been an evil strongman, but comes across as very kind. BEGA's big boy wins, and unlike Daichi's awkward loss though, Ray is a great sportsman here. Crusher admits the battle could have gone either way, but Ray disagrees, saying, quote, "Your love and devotion to your sister determined the outcome." Even if Ray didn't win his final match, we're reminded here why we love this character. It's his coolness coupled with the empathy and kindness he shows. I'd consider this a good last act for Ray. Match 3, it's Max versus Mistel. As a reminder, 3 BEGA wins will mark the end of the tournament, and Max is feeling major pressure. It's Rick with his go with your gut message that helps Max out of his funk, and it's great seeing Max's former duos partner breaking through to him in a way that not even Tyson or Ray could. Max doesn't win the match, but he doesn't lose either. It's a tie against Mistel. BEGA doesn't get the 3 wins they need. I think this was a great ending for Max. Sure, we'd all like a win, but we understand we're setting up a comeback story for the final battles. Beyond that, Max is not the lance. Max is the shield. Like a goalkeeper, Max planted his feet in this match and prevented Mistel from scoring another point for BEGA. Lifelong Max fans, congratulations, you chose the right character. Max is the biggest surprise of my Beyblade rewatch, the true MVP of these 3 series. 46 marks the return of Kai. The broken lad works his way over to Tala, where he finds a hard metal Dronzer MS. Outside the tournament grounds, the extended G Revolutions team are strategizing for day 2 of the tournament when Kai, armed with Dronzer MS, makes this triumphant return. No preteen has ever looked as cool as Kai does right now. And remember, this is exactly where and how we first encountered Kai in Beyblade's very first episode. Naturally, Kai will be the G Revolution's 5th blader and the 4th to battle in a rematch against Brooklyn. Stepping outside the show here again, this battle starts in episode 47, and at the time of recording, this episode on YouTube has 3.7 million views. It is the most viewed video on the official Beyblade channel by a landslide. All this to say, it's a legendary battle and a landmark moment for Kai Hiwatari. At the start of the match, Kai is once again on the back foot. This dark aura forms around Kai as he taps into his deepest emotions. The first thing he finds is this anger that's been inside him forever. Over time though, as he pushes, immerses himself in the game, and digs deeper, his aura turns white, which I think we can interpret as his love for the game going deeper than his rage and bitterness. Brooklyn, who has never come close to losing, is starting to sweat, especially when Kai monologues, "I've learned from every battle. Through the hardships of training, competitions, wins and losses, they all taught me something. That's why I can say that I'm a true Beyblader. That's what keeps me going, and that's my strength." Brooklyn is freaking the hell out, and Kai finishes off by saying, "You're not a true blader. You have the power and skill, but something's missing from inside you. You don't have the Beyblading spirit." Pouring everything he has into a final attack, Dronzer knocks the Zeus blade out of the stadium, and Kai gifts the G Revolutions their first win of the tournament. Brooklyn crumbles, incapable of processing his first ever loss, and Kai limps away from the stadium towards the exit. After a short interaction with his team and where they get to thank him, Kai stumbles into a dark corridor alone where he kind of dies. It's certainly implied in the Japanese version of the show, although the English dub softens the scene by having him proclaim, "My days of blading are over," like he's just retiring. So is this the death of Kai? Episode 48 certainly frames it that way, but with 4 episodes to go, we can't say for sure until we hit the finale. Still, what an exceptional way to go out for Kai. Overcoming Brooklyn was great, but the highlight of this match was Kai's aura changing from black to white as he dug deeper and latched onto passion underneath all that anger. In 49, Tyson faces Garland. He's the one who massacred the Blitzkrieg boys, and Tyson wins, and while this battle can't hold a candle to Brooklyn v Kai, to Kai v Tyson in episode 30, it's an important showdown thematically for this whole BEGA storyline, asking questions like why we choose to get in the stadium. We see Brooklyn's extended breakdown, though he pivots from denial to anger. In a private convo with his coach, he declares himself a god and actually wants to battle in the tie-breaking final match against Tyson for revenge. I still can't get behind Hiro's motivations. In the dub, Hiro says, "I never thought it would end this way. Me training the next world champion." In the Japanese version, he basically says, "Tyson, will your love for Beyblade win the final match, or will the genius squash that love?" A bit more about raw talent versus hard work, and less about furthering his own coaching career, but again, Hiro just didn't land in a good spot for me at the end of the series. And then it's finale time. In the English dub, we have episodes 51 and 52, but in Japan, these aired as a 2-part finale event. Brooklyn is battling with a serious intensity. It isn't necessarily passion, but it's purpose. We see these dark angel wings appear on Brooklyn's back, and given how non-committal G Revolution has been with things like Bit Beasts, it was hard for me to tell how serious I was supposed to take Demon Brooklyn. But then we see Tyson and the spectators get sucked into a black hole. We awake in a ruined version of the city with Brooklyn flying above. Garland, of all people, does his best to explain what we're experiencing, saying, "Zeus created this world inside Brooklyn's mind. We're in Brooklyn's heart." Tyson, who has been a guiding light for characters like Kai, for Zio, feels a deep sadness knowing that this is the darkness in Brooklyn's heart. He says, quote, "We've come all this way to return blading to the way it used to be, but winning isn't enough. If I can't change his heart with my passionate Bay spirit, it's as good as losing." Brooklyn's state of mind, his lack of passion, his need to crush the competition is the exact thing the G Revolutions are fighting against. To save Brooklyn from his own head is to save Beyblading from BEGA. Suddenly, we see Kai with a new drip unlocked in this larger-than-life cliffside pose separate from the others. He tells Tyson to take the path you believe in, no matter what lies at the end. This would seem to confirm, yes, he's alive, but if we want to go tinfoil hat mode, remember, we are in Brooklyn's mind/heart right now, and we haven't seen Kai in the outside world since he collapsed. With Kai being the only blader to ever defeat Brooklyn, it could be that a version of Kai occupies Brooklyn's mind/heart. We don't see his lips move when he speaks to the others, and there is this echoey filter on his voice and no one else's that feels otherworldly. Tyson blasts off into the sky. He can fly now because this is a show that shares a director with Dragon Ball Z. The production staff is going all out for the final fight of the original trilogy. When Tyson reaches Brooklyn, he comments on his world with the oddly poetic lines, "This isn't the sky is bluer and bigger." If this wasn't already the best final battle in Beyblade, it secures the #1 spot when Tala wakes from his coma to send Wolborg's power to Tyson across space and time. Max lends Dracile's power over water to Dragoon's attack. Zeus and this Super Dragoon continue battling, though the dark clouds are clearing. Brooklyn is smiling and seems to genuinely care about the match. We seem to be back in reality, though the damage the BEGA HQ took in Brooklyn's mind appears to have actually happened and Boris is ruined. After all the flying, the explosions, the dark angel wings, the final stretch of the battle is just two kids blading in the dirt. No stadium, no cameras. Brooklyn is defeated, and after his cross-dimensional journey with Tyson, he seems to be far more accepting of his loss than the time Kai took him down. Tyson won the battle for Brooklyn's soul and for the sport of Beyblading. We get a bit of a time skip cutting back to our iconic Riverside hangout spot, and we learn that Dickinson's BBA is back, but keeping things humble with a small blading center underneath the bridge. Max, Ray, etc. are teaching the next generation how to Beyblade, but Tyson and Kai are absent. We see Tyson resting in the grass with Kai lying across from him in the exact pose we found him in during episode 1 of G Revolution. They smile at each other, a crowd of spectators run up to witness what's next. We see Tyson and Kai prepare to battle one last time. We zoom out and hear them shout their Bit Beast names. We see Dronzer and Dragoon appear in the sky one last time, and we fade out. So there it seems like Kai is alive, right? I've seen some folks online speculate that this Kai lying beside Tyson is not there. He's a memory of Tyson's or a vision. On one hand, we don't see him talk, but on the other hand, dozens of kids run up the hills to witness a match. I can't imagine they would be so excited to watch just Tyson practicing Beyblade by himself. I think Kai is here for real. The way I interpret everything that happened with Kai is I imagine Kai's collapse after the Brooklyn battle was a symbolic death, but with Kai commanding Dronzer, the Phoenix, this was a story of Kai's rebirth. The Phoenix represents renewal, death, rebirth, and Kai has had that cyclical rise and fall throughout these seasons. His battle with Brooklyn, his declaration of his love for Beyblading, and him finding passion beneath the rage was the death of the Kai we knew, the one that grew up in Russian training camps and founded the Blade Sharks. And that moment was the birth of the new Kai who gets to live a life looking forward, not backwards. Is that an overanalysis of a Spinning Tops cartoon? Maybe, but G Revolution took the fall of Kai farther than ever with the blood, the collapse, the shattering blade, so I think this death and rebirth concept was in the writers' minds. Before saying goodbye for good, we get a great slideshow of characters across the 3 seasons of Beyblade in the new G Revolution art style. We see V-Force characters. We see Carlos the Blade Shark from Series 1 Episode 1 taking on Rick. The Saint Shield kids are here, the Dark Bladers, Zio. There are minor updates for the G Revolution newcomers, like a smiling Brooklyn still enjoying Beyblade, and Hero in an Indiana Jones cosplay for some reason. The second last shot focused on a group I don't recognize. Apparently they're manga exclusive characters, so that's a neat Easter egg for hardcore fans. Then, resting on a shot of Daichi, Max, Ray, Chief, Kai, and Tyson, we end our 3-season journey with this group of characters. In my last video, I said that G Revolution was exceptional, but I wasn't ready to declare it the best season, as it relied so heavily on the greatness of Season 1. I've thought about it a bit more, and I want to amend that. After seeing all 52 episodes, I believe this is the best season of the original series because it was built upon Season 1 and expanded on it. G Revolution doubled down on everything that made Series 1 work. It's not perfect. There is a strange absence of the Bit Beast in G Revolution, and I'm not just talking about Dizzy, rest in peace. G Revolution downplayed the magic animals and mythical beasts that were inside our heroes' Beyblades. They were no longer plot-relevant guardians or partners to our human cast, and instead visualizations of special attacks. This isn't inherently bad. Sports anime like Haikyuu will sometimes show team mascots to represent epic moments, but the Bit Beasts, just being abruptly dropped with no explanation when they were the focus of V-Force and the back half of season 1 is rather strange. I would have liked more synergy between V-Force and G-Rev. It's like the two production studios both watched series 1 and liked different parts of it. If the production teams were more aligned, maybe we could have ended V-Force with a farewell to the Bit Beasts, setting us up for a season without them. The Blade Breakers realize it's time to let their sacred beasts be free, and to realize they've become incredible bladers who don't need to rely on Bit Beasts anymore. Another option would have been to have the occasional Bit Beast appearances we did see in G Revolution represent little sparks of passion in our bladers. The team is older, and a major plot point of G Revolution is blading for love of the game versus blading for fame, fortune, and other reasons. Maybe Tyson and the gang don't see the Bit Beasts as often as they used to, but from time to time, when they're truly locked in, immersed in battle, the Bit Beasts reappear for them. Again, I can get down with the monsters just being visualizations of epic attacks, but the unexplained de-emphasis feels strange because this is the third in a trilogy where they did matter. Beyond that, I have very little to complain about with G Revolution. Series 3 had an excellent art style, occasionally stunning animation, 3D Beyblades that won me over after my initial hesitancy with V-Force, the best tournament arc in OG Beyblade history, this weirdly true-to-life story about a game being ruined by corporate greed. I'm so grateful we ended this rewatch project on a high note. G Revolution was an absolute treat. There is a nostalgia I will always have for Series 1, but I'm ready and willing to declare Beyblade G Revolution the best of the first 3 seasons. Of course, if you made it to the end of this journey and the end of this video, I want to hear from you. What did you think of G Revolution? Do you agree that it's number 1? What was your favorite arc across all 3 seasons? Your favorite battle? Comment below and subscribe if you're interested in more rewatches and reviews of shows like this from the 2000s. I'm thinking of making a short video talking about the Betamon anime next, since for a brief moment that was looking to be the successor to Beyblade, though it never really panned out that way. Reminder that if you like my thoughts and assessment of 2000s era monster battling anime like Beyblade, Digimon, Metabots, I've written a novel called Dot Monster Revolution that is my take on the genre. A love letter to early 2000s pet monster anime, particularly Digimon, available now as an ebook and physical paperback. I'll have links in the description for where you can read the first 20 pages and purchase it if you're interested. So here we are, 1 year after publishing my first review titled The Original Beyblade Was Special, where I reviewed the first 8 episodes. Now having watched 154 episodes of the original Beyblade, I can confidently say I stand by that statement. The original Beyblade was special.